Raid of alleged NPA safe house in Rizal nabs 8 and yields high-powered firearms. Authorities believe this is linked to the alleged Red October ouster plot.
But we are very, very confident na he cannot make any substantial recovery. With this ruling of the tribunal,
The Presidential Electoral Tribunal favors the plea of Vice President Leni Robredo to apply the 25% threshold in vote recount. And law expert says Senator Antonio Trillanes IV can question the Makati court's decision to revive his rebellion case before higher courts. Good evening. Members of the House Makabayan Bloc refute claims that their protest scheduled in October is part of an ouster plot against President Rodrigo Duterte. Grace Casin tells us why.
House Makabayan lawmakers admit that they will be mounting a massive rally next month, but they clarify that this has nothing to do with the alleged plots to overthrow the Duterte administration. The group maintains the planned demonstration is aimed at raising their sentiments to the government.
Hindi po ito destabilization plot. Ito po ay lehitimong pagkilos ng mga magbubukid, mga manggagawang bukid sa mga isyong nakakaapekto sa kanila.
Sa bahagi ng mga kaguruan, September 5 to October 5, yan ang Teachers Month. So maraming serye ang inihanda ang mga kaguruan.
What is on the red now, very clearly in the past days, our economy is on the red.
The statement comes after the military claimed that the Communist Party of the Philippines and their co-conspirators has lined up several events that would culminate to President Rodrigo Duterte's ouster based on recovered documents. The Makabayan group, however, denies any involvement in the matter and that they are not communicating with the Communist Party and other political groups.
There was never an us between LP, Magdalo, and the left. No? What we have in common are our protest against tyranny, against the economic crisis, and our alternatives.
In view of the alleged Red October plot, Makabayan Solons deferred the deliberation on the proposed budget of the National Security Council and the Military Intelligence Corps Association in the belief that these agencies are just using their funds to gather wrong intelligence data. House Speaker Gloria Arroyo meanwhile defends President Rodrigo Duterte's pronouncements against group plotting his ouster. Arroyo, speaking from experience as former president, says a chief executive has access to intelligence reports that are not available to all.
If the president believes that there is a threat, he is working from good information. So we should believe whatever.
Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
Members of the Philippine Army's 80th Infantry Battalion, together with operatives from the National Bureau of Investigation, raided a coral farm in Sitio Dalig in the municipality of Teresa on Tuesday, where authorities seized high-powered firearms. The property, believed to be a safe house of top New People's Army leaders in the area, had been under military surveillance in recent months. The NPA leaders, who were said to be frequent visitors of the farm, are Armando Lazarte, alias Pat o Romano, the secretary of the NPA's Sub-Regional Military Area 4A, and Tirso Alcantara, alias Bart, the former commander of NPA Terrorist Regional Unit Guerrilla. 8 personalities were nabbed from the operation, including the owner of the farm, Kibe E, alias Lily Ong. According to the 202nd Infantry Brigade Commander Brigadier General Arnulfo Marcelo Burgos Jr., the success of the operation meant that the authorities thwarted another Red October movement that aimed at destabilizing the government by ousting President Duterte. Meanwhile, 5 communist rebels from Quezon Province have surrendered to the government. The Philippine National Police believes this is a huge help to their operations as well as the militaries. Ray Palayo tells us why.
5 members of the New People's Army surrendered to authorities in the province of Quezon. They were presented to the media on Tuesday at Camp Vicente Lim in Laguna. According to Philippine National Police Chief Police Director General Oscar Albayalde, the rebels' decision to return to the government is a huge help to the PNP and the Armed Forces of the Philippines in their operations to track the rest of the rebels in the field.
Sila rin ang tutulong sa atin para po matigil na rin yung mga ibang kasamaan nila na gumagawa pa ng hindi maganda sa lugar nila. Marami naman pong nag-surrender sa atin na hanggang ngayon naman ay buhay at nagbagong buhay at nasa magandang kalagayan.
Albayalde believes that the rebels are not helping the country's economy if they continue on with their illegal activities such as extortion and destruction of properties in neighborhoods.
O paano po tayo mag-develop dito? Paano tayo magpo-progress dito? Kung every time na may ginagawa ang gobyerno, no, na development doon sa lugar na yon, sinusunog. Walang gustong kumuha na kontraktor. Kasi masisira at malulugi lang siya, masusunog yung kanilang mga ano. So, anong mangyayari doon sa lugar na yon? It will remain poor. Yun ang kasing gusto nila, it will remain poor. And if you're poor, madali ka kasing maengganyo, madali kang ma-brainwash.
The PNP chief encourages rebels to return to the government and take advantage of the opportunities to start a new life as he assures rebel returnees their protection against their former colleagues.
Yan po ay ilalapit natin sa ating mga elected officials, sa mga local government, local chief executives natin para mabigyan sila ng livelihood. Hindi po natin sila pababayaan. Hindi po natin pababayaan para makapagbagong buhay at matulungan natin sila na mayangat yung kanilang buhay.
Ray Pelayo, UNTV, News and Rescue, Philippines.
Law experts believes that Senator Antonio Trillanes IV has the option to question the revival of his rebellion case before higher courts. May Bermudez tells us why.
Legal battle for Senator Antonio Trillanes IV is not yet through, not even after he was able to return Senate after posting bail for rebellion charges. Judge Elmo Alameda of Makati RTC Branch 150 is set to hear on November 21 the initial presentation of the evidence by the prosecution in relation to the revival of his case. But for some law experts, Trillanes may bring this matter up before the Court of Appeals or even before the Supreme Court.
Pwede niyang questionin ito sa pending na kaso sa Supreme Court. Kasi pwedeng sabihin niya na dapat may urgency na i-resolve. Tama ba o hindi tama si Presidente Duterte sa pag-issue niya ng Proclamation 572. Or number 2 naman, pwede mag-file si Senator Trillanes ng panibagong kaso, perhaps sa regional trial as a Court of Appeals, upang questionin naman yung pag-i-issue ng judge ng warrant of arrest.
Of course, we are in fact thinking of raising the matter or filing a motion for reconsideration. I'll talk with the other members of the legal team kung ano talaga yung gagawin. But of course, we won't take this sitting down.
The failure to submit the original copy of his amnesty application form is one of the reasons why the Makati court granted the DOJ's motion to order his arrest. This was despite his lawyer's submission of the affidavit of his administering officer, Colonel Josefa Berbigal, proving he personally applied for the amnesty grant.
Kung affidavit lang yan, pagkatapos hindi ka naman na-question ng other party o ng other camp, na cross-examine, wala siyang value. Pwedeng ma-question yun ni Senator Trillanes bilang error in judgment of the court. Meaning, isa yan sa mga maaaring pagkakamali ng korte, kaya pwede niya yung ma-question sa Court of Appeals, sa mas mataas na korte.
San Beda College of Law Dean Ranhilio Aquino also believes Trillanes may seek help from higher courts. He said Branch 150's decision was just a product of its initial findings and both sides still have the chance to prove their arguments during the trial proper.
Alam mo naman, usually in judicial proceedings, there are preliminary findings. No? Like in a criminal case, the judge makes an initial determination of whether there is probable cause, which is the basis for the issuance of the warrant of arrest. Pero that finding does not prejudice a fuller conclusion that he reaches after the trial.
May Bermudez, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
House Speaker Gloria Arroyo refuses to comment on the arrest of opposition Senator Antonio Trillanes IV due to the revival of his rebellion case. Arroyo also responds with no reaction when media pointed out that the rebellion case stemmed from Trillanes' participation in a failed uprising against her administration.
No reaction.
Ma'am, what happened during your time po kasi?
Still, no reaction.
Trillanes was arrested by authorities on Tuesday after a Makati court granted the Department of Justice motion to issue an alias warrant and hold departure order against the senator. Trillanes was taken into police custody and later returned to Senate after posting a 200,000 peso bail for his temporary freedom. The Supreme Court has set aside the 50% shading threshold in the revision of the ballots in relation to the election protests filed by former Senator Bongbong Marcos against Vice President Leni Robredo. Kathy Maglalang tells us why.
The Supreme Court has finally decided the ballot shading threshold issue, which has been the subject of debates between the camps of Vice President Leni Robredo and former Senator Bongbong Marcos. In the resolution dated September 18, the High Court sitting as the Presidential Electoral Tribunal partially granted Robredo's motion setting aside the 50% shading threshold. The SC explained the 50% shading threshold was no longer applied for the 2016 elections, and it was clear the Commission on Elections used a new threshold. But according to the court, the COMELEC and Robredo's camp failed to clearly prove a 25% threshold had been set before the 2016 elections. It says that resolutions and documents submitted by the poll body show that a threshold of 20 to 25% threshold was applied. Hence, the court directed its revisors to refer to the election returns to verify the total number of votes as read and counted by the vote counting machine. The court, though, made it clear that the threshold used by VCMs will not be the final basis whether a vote will be counted in favor of Marcos or Robredo. The SC also clarified that as of now, there is yet no final deduction or addition of votes. With the court decision, Robredo is hopeful for a more speedy revision of ballots.
Masaya dahil number one, alam namin na bibilis na yung proseso. Number two, marami na kaming mga sinabi namin na hindi alam ng maraming tao kung sino sa amin nagsasabi ng totoo. Lahat ng kasinungalingan, parang nasagot doon.
But we are very, very confident na he cannot make any substantial recovery. With this ruling of the tribunal, the results of the revision will only confirm the results of the count made by the vote counting machines.
But according to a lawyer for Marcos, the interpretation of Robredo's camp is erroneous, since the court itself has reiterated in its decision that it was not informed about the application of a new threshold and that there is no legal basis to amend its 2010 rules.
Yung resolusyon, kahit na pagbali-baliktarin nyo yung pagbasa at interpretasyon, ay inaffirm niya yung 50% threshold. Ang ibig sabihin, binaliwala yung motion for reconsideration ng kabilang kampo. Maliwanag na maliwanag yun. Bakit? Sinabi mismo ng Presidential Electoral Tribunal, oo nga, totoo na ang COMELEC ginamit niya o maaaring sinasabi niya na 25% ang 2016 election. Kaya lang, matagal na namin silang tinatanong, sabi ng PET. Humihingi kami sa kanila ng sulat or whatever, hindi nila kami ini-inform.
Kathy Maglalang, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Commission on Elections will use an automated system of verifying the identity of the voters starting with the coming 2019 midterm elections. The COMELEC has started the bidding for the 1.16 billion peso voter registration verification system project, which will do away with the usual manual process of verification using the printed copies of computerized voters list on election day. 4 companies have already signified their interest to join the bidding, including the controversial Smartmatic. The winning bidder would supply over 32,000 voter verification machines to be deployed in identified areas in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, and for the whole of the autonomous region in Muslim Mindanao. The Philippines now has the highest number of tuberculosis cases in Southeast Asia based on the 2018 Global Report. This is amid the move of the Department of Health to use a new machine that can detect signs of TB. Aiko Miguel tells us why.
The Philippines now tops the list of countries in Southeast Asia with the most number of tuberculosis cases. In a presentation during a seminar in Ilocos Sur, the Department of Health reported that the Philippines is the worst performing on TB incidents among members of the Association of Southeast Asian Countries and ranks 10th out of the 22 highest TB burdened countries since 1998. The DOH also noted that tuberculosis is the fourth leading cause of morbidity and mortality in the Philippines, with 60 Filipinos dying of the illness daily. 581,000 Filipinos from 14 years of age and above are also infected with the disease, according to the 2018 Global Tuberculosis Report. But the DOH clarifies this is only because the country is using a new and state-of-the-art TB testing machine, which yields more accurate results compared to those used by neighboring nations.
Ang reason dito bakit bumaba yung ranking natin, we are one of the few countries na early adopter nung bagong technique for detecting tuberculosis. Very much improved tool or system kasi mas marami tayo ngayong nare-record na mga may tuberculosis na dati namimiss natin with the old diagnostic procedures that are available. Ano?
The DOH adds that the new machine can detect signs of TB in an individual's DNA through a microscopic sputum specimen. Health Undersecretary Villamor-Camara believes that the country's ranking will improve in the next 2 to 3 years when more countries adopt the new technology. They also target to lower TB cases by 90% in 2035 through the Formula 1 Plus program, which will prioritize poor Filipinos.
The objective really of F1 is yun, ma-improve yung at mga services and eventually as an outcome makaayos din tayo sa ating ranking comparing with other countries.
The agency also reminds the public anew to seek medical consultation when symptoms like fever, sudden weight loss, fatigue, and loss of appetite persist. TB patients are also advised to complete 6 months of treatment in DOH TB centers nationwide to avoid the development of multi-drug resistant TB, which leads to a complicated treatment. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Ilocos Sur.
Up next on Y News.
I think there was a lapse on the safety protocol. Kulang ng komunikasyon.
MRT management admits failure of communication in maintenance service vehicle accident. DNA sampling begins on victim's skin in Itogon, Benguet landslide. And Bugoy Drilon marks 10 years in music industry with his first major solo concert. Y News will be right back after this quick break. Welcome back to Y News. Here are the headlines.
Nakita natin na talaga may drugs na lumabas at nakita dun sa Cavite dahil pinabayaan nila yung mga Chinese na pumasok doon, ginrinder na ilabas.
Senate Blue Ribbon Committee Chairman Senator Richard Gordon believes that the 4 giant magnetic lifters found in General Mariano Alvarez in Cavite contain shabu. The Philippine National Police reports the death toll in the government's drug war has now reached to more than 4,800 since its launch in 2016. And the Department of Trade and Industry welcomes the measures signed by President Duterte granting more powers to agencies to tame inflation. The death toll in the government's ongoing drug war has now reached to more than 4,800. The Philippine National Police believes the relentless campaign against illegal drugs has a positive impact on the country's crime situation. Leia Ilagan tells us why.
More than 4,800 drug suspects have been killed in over 100,000 legitimate anti-drug operations from July 1, 2016 to August 31, 2018, as per data released by the Philippine National Police on Wednesday. In the said operations, 155,000 and more drug suspects were arrested. 223 drug dens and 13 clandestine laboratories were also raided, including the one in Pasay City, which was found with over 500,000 pesos worth of illegal drugs.
Ang foreign nationals po ay kabilang sa parameters natin ng high-value targets. Especially since, based on our initial investigation, they're possibly members of, since they're Hong Kong based, they're possibly members or connected to the 14K.
Separate operations also yielded the arrest of more than 500 officials and employees of the government. With these figures, the PNP believes the drug war is bringing positive impact on the crime situation on our country.
We are gaining a lot of grounds in terms of the positive impact of our relentless and chilling campaign against illegal drugs. It has a positive impact on the crime situation in our country.
The PNP also reports that around 200 members of law enforcement agencies were dismissed from the service after they tested positive of using illegal drugs.
We have zero tolerance against those police personnel found to have used illegal drugs. So use pa lang yon, talagang no mercy na ang Philippine National Police, meaning that would involve probably simplifying our disciplinary processes.
Authorities also report that over 8,400 villages across the country have been cleared from drugs.
There are drug-free barangays already, and there are barangays which are yet to be cleared. Drug-free, and they are drug-unaffected barangays. So, mali po yung perception na out of the 42,000, the rest, minus 8,444 apektado sa illegal na drugs.
Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
Authorities have now begun the DNA sampling of the victim's skin in the landslide that hit Itogon, Benguet. Officials have also declared that the operations would now be shifted to search and retrieval mode. Nel Maribok explains why.
Around 30 individuals are still patiently waiting at the training center of the Department of Social Welfare and Development in Baguio City. All of them are hoping that anytime soon, they will be able to see at least the bodies of their loved ones buried beneath the rubble of a landslide that descended upon a barangay in Itogon, Benguet during the onslaught of Typhoon Ompong a week ago. On Tuesday, 4 more bodies were recovered from the landslide site. The next day, authorities began the DNA sampling of the victim's skin to speed up the process of identifying and cleaning the bodies. The DSWD Cordillera has also started processing burial assistance for relatives of those who are still missing. This after Regional Director Ruben Carangdang of the Office of the Civil Defense declared that there were no signs of life anymore under the rubble. Presidential Advisor on Political Affairs Secretary Francis Tolentino also declared that the operations would be shifted to search and retrieval operations starting today.
Siguro dapat si DSWD ay harapin mo na yung pamilya na naghihintay dyan. Ito na yung community counseling. Siguro harapin na, sabihin na wala na hong pag-asang makitang buhay pa yung inyong mga kamag-anak. Ito na siguro kung meron kayong mga counselors dito na pwedeng magbigay ng debriefing, stress debriefing, trauma counseling, etc. Kayo na yun.
According to the Cordillera Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, the death toll from the landslide has already reached 110, with 90 from Benguet Province, 85 from Itogon, and 25 still missing. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Itogon, Benguet.
The Department of Trade and Industry welcomes the measures that were signed by President Duterte, which are aimed at taming the country's inflation. Here's why from Monokson.
The Department of Trade and Industry and other agencies now holds more authority to adopt measures that could lower the price of basic goods through the memorandum and administrative orders signed by President Rodrigo Duterte. Under the Memorandum Order Number 26, the Department of Agriculture and the DTI are directed to adopt measures to reduce the gap between farm gate prices and retail prices of agricultural products, such as setting up public outlets and cold storages where poultry producers can directly sell their products to consumers. DTI says helping farmers and manufacturers directly deliver their products to retail outlets can help lower prices and remove intermediary layers. The agency cites as example the prices of chicken and pork that may be lowered by 20 pesos per kilogram, while canned goods and vegetables by 1 to 2 pesos.
Yung producers ng manok, gulay, baboy, mga agricultural products, diretso na sa isang outlet para sa consumers na accessible sa kanila, wala masyadong trade layers. Yung mga patong na sinasabi natin.
DTI also welcomes the signing of Administrative Order Number 13, which removes non-tariff barriers and streamlines administrative procedures on the importation of agricultural products such as rice and meat.
Pag nabawasan ng procedure, mababawasan ng cost, malaking may tutulong na mapababa yung presyo.
DTI is also given the power to create a surveillance team together with the Philippine National Police to monitor agricultural products and curb hoarding practices. The National Food Authority and the Bureau of Fisheries were also authorized by the President to import additional rice and fish supply when necessary, even if it's beyond the minimum access volume. And to lower the import costs, DTI and DA are ordered to improve logistics, transport, storage, and distribution of agriculture and fishery products under the Memorandum Order Number 27. The orders of the President aimed at taming the country's inflation are effective immediately. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, San Juan City.
A group of teachers continue to oppose the implementation of makeup classes during Saturdays. But the Department of Education says the order to hold makeup classes by schools remains optional. Charlie Barredo tells us why.
The Teachers' Dignity Coalition continues to question the Department of Education's order to hold makeup classes due to cancellations because of bad weather, holidays, and special occasions. The TDC stresses holding makeup classes due to the said reasons are unnecessary, as the school calendar provided for buffer days in such cases.
Nagkakaroon lamang naman ito kapag supposedly na-compromise yung tinatawag nating 187 days, no? Non-negotiable teaching and learning days, no, sa ating mga bata. No?
The group insists teachers are already performing their jobs from Monday to Friday, describing the order to also teach on Saturdays as inconsiderate of their other schedules and obligations.
Yung Sabado kasi, may pamilya din kami. No? Kailangan din naman namin yung mga gawain, gampanan yung mga aming tungkulin sa aming mga tahanan.
And if some children need more contact in learning their lessons, the group says there are other ways of doing it without holding it on Saturdays.
Kung maaari nga, mas maaga akong pumasok para yung mga batang yan ay mabigyan ko ng mga pagkukulang nila sa lesson para makahabol din sila sa kanilang lesson.
But according to the Department of Education, the implementation of makeup classes by schools remains optional, granted the required contact days for teaching and learning is not compromised. Schools also need not hold the makeup classes on Saturdays if teachers, students, and parents agree to extend school hours on weekdays if applicable.
Sa guidelines natin, sinasabi lang doon, the school to the principal and the teachers in consultation with the parents and students should agree on the type of makeup classes. Hindi naman automatic o Saturday tayo.
Other teachers and students, meanwhile, are in favor of conducting Saturday makeup classes.
Mas gusto ko po na magkaroon na lang ng Saturday class para at least hindi po kami masyadong gahol sa mga gawain.
It's one way of sharing our time in order that our students will learn from especially reading classes, wherein some of our students are really very poor when it comes to reading.
Charlie Barreto, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The management of the MRT-3 apologizes for the inconveniences caused by the collision of service vehicles that left 7 people injured. The agency also vows to improve their safety protocols following the mishap. John Nano tells us why.
MRT operations were disrupted early today after 2 of its Unimogs or maintenance vehicle services collided along Buendia and Guadalupe stations, affecting thousands of commuters. Based on initial investigation, the collision was caused by a lapse in safety protocol. According to Engineer Michael Capati, the driver of the second Unimog unit did not notice the first unit still parked ahead as he was blinded by the curve between the stations.
I think there was a lapse on the safety protocol. No? Nagkaroon po ng kulang ng komunikasyon between doon sa driver po ng trucks na siya po ay on the way na pabalik. Since nagkaroon po ng communication lapse, hindi niya nalaman na meron pang gumagawa.
7 workers were injured in the mishap. 2 of them were placed in the intensive care unit for sustaining head injuries and fractured limbs, while another was already discharged from the hospital. The MRT management vows to look into and improve their communication safety protocols to avoid similar incidents. The agency also assures to provide assistance for their employees. MRT-3 operations have already returned to normal since 6 this morning. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Versatile OPM act Bugoy Drilon holds his first major solo concert as he celebrates his 10th year in the Philippine music industry. He also expresses his gratitude to Wish FM for reaching this career milestone. Here's why from Monokson.
This is gonna be the best day of my
Performing on stage in a major solo concert has been a childhood wish of Bugoy Drilon. And after 10 years in the Philippine music industry, the notable balladier's wish was granted when Wish 107.5 FM staged his one-day, one-decade concert at the Kia Theater on Tuesday. Bugoy is an exceptional singer with humble beginnings. As a farmer's son, making his dreams come true was never easy, as he had to work as a canteen janitor to sustain his studies. Soon, a rare opportunity knocked at his door as Pinoy Dream Academy accepted him as one of its scholars, where he emerged as first runner-up. Bugoy today is a versatile OPM act, and to celebrate his first decade in the industry, he recalled some of the songs that formed part of his journey, such as the song Angels Brought Me Here, his audition piece for PDA. He sang his first single, Paano Na Kaya? And the song One Day. His Wishclusive cover of this song earned him massive reactions online and an invitation from Matin Yahoo to perform with him in the United States.
One day is the one. Binuhay niya ulit yung mga taong naniniwala sa akin. Naniniwala because the One Day song is all about positivity. So I'm holding on and I never give up on my dreams.
Joining the concert were Bugoy's friends in the industry, Philippine pop rock superstar Yang Constantino, Michael Pangilinan and Daryl Ong, Eric Santos and Clarice de Guzman, and Casey Tandingan. Bugoy expresses gratitude to Wish FM for giving him a big break and for helping him realize his childhood dream.
Kuya Daniel, wala pong masabi kundi thank you po. Maraming salamat sa tiwala and for giving me this opportunity na makapag-perform at mabigay ko po kung ano yung musika na meron sa puso ko.
Wish 107.5 innovator Kuya Daniel Razon says, helping and promoting Filipino talents is an advocacy of the FM station.
Lahat naman ng mga pinasimulan din natin sa music industry is primarily para matulungan natin yung ating mga Filipino artists at matulungan natin ang original Filipino music dahil alam natin na napakaraming mga talents na talagang ang mga Pilipino mahusay talagang umawit. World class talaga sila na mga awit. Kahit sa Wish FM mismo, talagang meron tayong allotted na oras para sa original Filipino music. Aside doon sa talagang ginagawa natin ng mga regular na pagpapatugtog ng Filipino music. So that goes with the artist as well dahil yun ay isa sa mga layunin din natin na magawa para sa kapakanan ng ating mga Filipino artists.
Wish FM is the leading FM YouTube channel in the Philippines with more than 3.5 million subscribers and more than 1.3 billion views. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Wish 107.5 and its partners grants the wish of a brain tumor patient in last night's One Day, One Decade concert. Leslie Longbowen tells us why.
Music and joy filled last night's 10th anniversary concert of OPM act Bugoy Drilon. Among those who took home good memories from the concert is 11-year-old Zoe Buico. Zoe is a brain tumor patient who is a huge fan of pop rock princess Yeng Constantino. From Iloilo, Zoe and her mom traveled to Manila for the fulfillment of her wish.
Nung malaman namin na wish niyang makita nga si Yeng, so naghanap kami ng ways kung paano makontak si Yeng. So fortunately, partner namin si Wish FM and then napagbigyan.
In a surprise wish granting arranged by Wish 107.5, Make-A-Wish Foundation, and AirAsia, Zoe was brought to last night's One Day, One Decade concert, where Yang is among the performers. Zoe was overjoyed to finally meet, hug, and sing with her favorite singer.
Mabuti nang mag-isa nang manis sa iba, lungkot sinisisi, kailangan ko lang.
Sobrang maraming salamat kasi ngayong gabi na nakilala kita, na-inspire mo ko na maging masaya. Thank you nga pala dahil pinapakinggan mo yung mga kanta ko tsaka yung pinapanood mo yung vlog ko. I love you!
Apart from the meet and greet, Zoe was also given another wonderful gift.
Kami, RGNL Productions, in partnership with Wish 107.5, we would like to give Zoe yung educational scholarship and at the same time help with medical.
Receiving many blessings, Zoe couldn't help but cry tears of joy.
Sobrang saya ko dahil nakita ko si Ate Yeng at nagulat lang ako kanina. Nasa tabi ko na siya. Salamat din po dahil binigyan ako ng scholarship. Maraming salamat.
Malaki pong pasasalamat ko. Abot langit po. Hindi ko po ma-describe. Nakita ko po yung anak ko na sobrang happy po.
Granting wishes is a commitment of Wish 107.5, making it an FM station with a heart.
Umaasa kami na sana kahit na sa maliit na paraan ay napasaya ka namin at natuwa ka na nakita mo yung hinahangaan mo na si Yeng Constantino. And sa iyo, Zoe, dalangin namin sa Panginoon na ibsan ang iyong nararamdaman at nawa ay hipuin ka sa iyong karamdaman.
Leslie Longbowen, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Up next on Y News.
Mr. Cosby clearly has been denied his right to a fair trial. These injustices must be corrected immediately.
Former celebrity comedian Bill Cosby sentenced to up to 10 years in prison for sexual assault. Suspect in baseball bat killings of homeless man in LA now under police custody. And Indonesian teenager survives 49 days adrift at sea in a fishing hut. And those are the recent bandit stories in the first and second part of our newscast. Y News returns with William Thio. I'm Rheena Villamor-Camara. Good evening.